In case you missed it, people, in case you missed it, some things happened in Cali. Y'all remember the fires in the Palisades? Well, I want to take you back in time, way back. We're going to go back to 2021. In 2021, there was a statement made by a certain group of people that were pushing for something called 15-minute cities. And we had spoken to you about the concept that maybe, just maybe, something was going to come down the pike that would make 15-minute cities more relevant. Now, some of the places that were talked about for 15-minute cities were New York, Los Angeles, and New Jersey, and Chicago. Okay. So there were tons of spots that were listed as a possibility for 15-minute cities. Now, everybody thought, well, there is no real reason to do it because you have such a tightly knit location, and most of the other spots are in the mountains. You're not going to really find that as an option for a 15-minute city. And in that case, you got to go through land assessment and all this acquiring and stuff. And we thought it's a ways off. Fast forward, we have fires in the Palisades. And you look back at things and you think, hold on, what wasn't California one of the places that they were talking about possibly having 15-minute cities? And then you look, and the Palisades was an actual location that they were thinking about putting one. You thought, well, okay, well, that's one thing, but they're never going to be able to do it because the people want their land back. Well, the update is this. Smart LA 2028 is a new California law that was passed just recently to buy, hear me out, fire destroyed Palisades to build low income apartments. Now, some are saying it's just coincidental. It's not that there was a plan to do so, but when you look back in 2021, Time Machine, of course, exists. You have to ask yourself, was this prepped? We had been talking about it possibly being the same reason that they did the Maui fire and the tons of places. Even in Oakland, they were having issues. Now, remember, we thought they would have to find a way, one, to create the necessity for a 15-minute city, two, create the opportunity for a 15-minute city, and three, create the space for a 15-minute city. Lo and behold, 3 in 1. They got the trifecta down, and man alive, do we have some information about this particular thing. On Monday, California lawmakers passed a bill that would purchase land rights in the Palisades, Los Angeles County. Remember, that was one of the names. After large parts of it were destroyed, and many residents lost everything this year. There are plenty of abnormalities when these wildfires were scorching the cities, and everybody thought that it looked a little bit weird. Now, they've also since passed certain ordinances that tells you that you can't rebuild in certain ways, meaning you now have the option to rebuild, but you have to rebuild with these new criterias in mind, which would add expenses. The criteria? You have to add some elevation to your homes in order to accommodate for flooding. Now, wait a minute. Didn't we just have fires? Yes, but flooding. I didn't know water was a problem. Now, the problem with that is the majority of the houses in the Palisades are pretty expensive. They're pretty expensive to rebuild them. You might need more money, but if you have to add an extra, say, couple, 3-4 feet, that adds an extra couple of $4-5 million to your build. What does that mean? You can't build. What are you going to do? If you now have the ability to rebuild your home, but not rebuild your home, what's next? I'll show you what's next. The city can buy your land. You can go ahead and decide that it's too much money to rebuild. So you decide to sell your land. Well, you can sell your land, but there's going to be a new rule that says you have to wait a certain amount of time to sell that land. Okay. Or since you want the money now, you can expedite that by selling it to the city of California, Los Angeles. Sell it to us. We'll expedite your sale and you can get your money and move on to another location. Now, why would they do that? Especially considering that they also just passed a $101 million plan to build houses there. And you also told me about a 15-minute city project that was coming to Los Angeles. Ironically, prime real estate is hard to come by, but if prime real estate is burnt up and you can get it at really cheap prices, you can really do a good killing on that low income housing, or quite possibly swap out low income housing price for a 15-minute city. So, what was it eventually becoming? Looks like a land grab. Now, there are tons of things that goes with this land grab, not just the facilitation of land, but the displacement of people. With the displacement of people, now you have another problem on your hands. What else is that problem? Homelessness. Oh, you want your land? We well want your land too. You can't rebuild? Okay, too bad. But tell you what we'll do. Since we have your land now and you don't have a place to stay, looks like you're going to need one. And for a nominal fee to the city, you can now have a apartment in a 15-minute city. The convenience is unreal. And if you don't want that, we have low income housing for you to participate in. What's the advantage to you? You don't have to worry about ownership. And if something happens, we fit the bill. The benefit to the government, you don't own any land and we're the ones that control it. Again, if we were to follow the method by which they're doing this, you would have to, at some point, try to figure out the why, and how so convenient, and how long ago were you talking about doing something like this, and it just so happens that a fire ravages the entire area that you were always talking about setting up 15-minute cities in. That is crazy work. That is crazy work. But if you want to check it out yourself, again, the bill is Senate Bill 549. You can go read it for yourself, see the allocations, see where the vicinity is, and see what they're actually requesting of the residents there. See what they're asking of the people who own land, and see whether or not they're actually purchasing lots at a fair price when it comes to the banking market. You know, in a lot of ways, it might be a model for what they want to do nationwide. And if people like this guy, Newsom, gets into a position where he can make this a mandate for the entirety of the United States, goodbye to the natural idea of home ownership and welcome to the idea of government home ownership. And you just pay stuff to the government. You own nothing, you keep nothing, you like it. But don't worry, this would have never happened. And it's not a plan at all. It's just a figment of your imagination.